straightforward, but what I'm hoping it's doing is giving you an idea of the types of things you can include in an example essay. We're going to look through a worksheet in a minute. But basically, what you're doing is thinking of an argument that you would like to prove, and if we just read these statements, each one of these statements here, and ask ourselves, is this argumentative? Yes, because someone might say, no, I don't think it's very efficient on that space station, okay? Today's global companies sometimes find that their product names and slogans can translate into embarrassing bloopers. No, I don't think that. I think people, I don't know, that one's tricky because you can kind of prove that. I don't know if you can argue with that, okay? Many life-enhancing products that we take for granted were invented by humans. Is that argumentative? Do you think that's argumentative? Somebody could say, no, I don't think women have actually done any life-enhancing products, okay? These are tough as far as arguments. The National Association of Stock Car Racing has taken steps to make the sport safe. Does anybody know anything about NASCAR? Yeah, so if you might, somebody who knows about it might say, no, I don't think the steps they've taken have really helped the safety any. So although these look a little bit different from what we've been looking at, these could be argumentative. Somebody could come along and argue with them. Okay, but what you're being asked to do here, in a sense, think about this as you're looking at somebody else's paper, and they have 4 SMAP items, and you have to say to them, you know what, you have 2 SMAP items, you've got to cross one off. Does that make sense, what they're asking you to do here? Which of these 4 does not support this argument? Ready? Okay, yeah, because this is, yes, this is one of the examples of how they use limited space. The laboratories are the size of closed closets. Another example of how they use the space. Is this an example of how they use that space? No. So this one doesn't belong there. So that's the one that does not clearly illustrate generalization. Okay? So in other words, if you were going to write this paper, if you were going to use this as your thesis statement, what would your thesis statement say? Your 3-part essay now thesis statement, if you were going to write this paper. The International Space Station is designed for efficient use of limited space, and how could you make that into a 3-part thesis statement? And yes, 3 good examples of this are food, laboratories, and bedrooms. See how that's what I'm hoping you're thinking in terms of what the way to use. So this could be in your introduction somewhere, but it's not one of your items. It's not one of your points. Okay? Which one of these is not an example of product names that translates into embarrassing words? Okay, yeah. So this talks about other countries, but it doesn't say that its name turns into a blooper. Pepsi's slogan, "Come alive with the Pepsi generation," didn't work in Taiwan, where it meant Pepsi would bring your ancestors back from the dead. The Nova, the Chevy Nova, didn't go over in South America, and Kentucky Fried Chicken doesn't translate. Those are idioms. Remember that finger licking good is an idiom. It doesn't translate well to other languages. Okay, many life-enhancing products that we take for granted were invented by women. which one of these does not? See, oh, we only have 3 there. How come we only have 3 there? Which one of those does not
C.
work?
C.
Yeah, because, right, does everyone see why that's the answer? Well, does everyone see what's going on there? We're going to have life-enhancing products that were invented by women. Now, I know a woman named Lonnie. So when I first read this, I think, well, that's okay. But you have to read on into it. So that doesn't work. So this would be only a 2-part piece of stick. You've only got 3 things. I think anyone got cut off here. Hold on. Which one of these is not a step NASCAR has taken? Yeah, okay. So again, if you're gonna write this paper, you say they have taken steps to make the sport safe, and 3 examples are seats, head and neck supports, and walls and barriers. And that's just your thesis statement. Then in your body paragraphs, you're expanding on those 2 things. Does everybody see how this is kind of an odd exercise for us, but like I said, one of the reasons I chose it over the ones in the book you have is that it gives us some ideas for expanding, for choosing examples of something and expanding your discussions of them. So again, this is going to be paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3 of your body. Introduction, right? Okay, some writers use strange tricks to overcome writer's block and keep their ideas flowing. Which one of these is not? Okay. Yeah. And 3, so if you're writing this as a thesis statement, it's going to say 3 examples are Schiller, Franklin, and Strickland. Yeah. Because this one, everyone see why this one would not be part of our thesis statement to this? Yeah, because this is true, but it doesn't say what trick he used, if any, to do that. Okay? Okay, and that would be a paper for an English 1B class. Now, and this is where I'm really going to be looking when I grade these papers. If you guys can now look into that, can you come up with your own? What you're writing here is a thesis statement for a 5-paragraph essay, right? Okay, who has an example of number 1 that you would like to show to us? What did you put for number 1? You do. Anybody do number 1? Anoricity? Okay. Good. Okay, so you use not only, that's really good. You really got into detail. She did, I don't know if everybody heard Araceli, but she not only named 3 singers, she had 3 songs. She had a song for each one of them. Okay? So a few contemporary singers work hard to send a positive message, and 3 examples of this are singer A with song A, singer B with song B, and singer C with song C. Now, here's where we get good, because that's a good long sentence. That works out to be a good long sentence. And that's one of the reasons that I'm saying at this point in your papers, in writing your essays, that if necessary, and I know some of you have received other training in other classes and other teachers that are usually on this point, but if you were writing that essay and that sentence were all you had in the first paragraph, you'd be okay. Because for an essay the length of what we're doing right now, that piece of statement is enough for the first paragraph. So it's a little bit odd at first. It sounds a little bit, after we were working on paragraphs that are 7 to 11 sentences. But as we work on exploding this out, we really are looking at, and we're going to work on expanding the introduction later on. But I really want you to focus on that one sentence. So it could be that whole paragraph. Okay? So does everyone see what you were doing there? I was hoping that you wrote a whole sentence out, but if not, write out the examples in sentence form. You could have done this, comma, and 3 examples are, so if you were lazy, and then written something down here.
Just like
Yeah. Okay, so you're going with what they have here. Okay. What 3 examples can we use for number 2? Robert, did you put one down for this, for number 2?
No, I didn't.
You didn't do it? Anybody have an example there? Lydia, what did you put for that one?
The flexible hours, classes of easy professional professors or people.
Good. Okay, good. Yeah. And that's going to be something you guys can write because you have experience. Okay. You can turn it around. You can argue the other. You can always argue the other way. In a number of ways, this college does not make it easy for working students. You don't have to say what this says. You can talk about singers who say a negative message. Does that make sense? So these are just ideas. People always have trouble with this one. Believing in yourself is 90% of success. What kind, so these examples are kind of easy to come up with. What 3 examples would you use to argue that believing in yourself is 90% of success? What did you put for that one? Did you have 3 examples proving that statement? For some reason, people. What did you put for that one?
I don't know if it's right, but I put self-motivation, dedication, determination.
Get what?
Dedication, self-motivation, and determination.
Okay, that's interesting because that's what people usually put. They usually put something like, and I didn't hear everything she said, but dedication, hard work. But that's kind of another definition of this, okay?
Yeah.
If you're dedicated, you'll have success. If you work hard, you'll have success. What we need to do on something like this is get a little more personal with the examples. And rather than just list some other nouns here, okay, what you need to do is actually give, if you're going to write this paper, is actually give an example of a time that you discovered that dedication led to success, and a time that you discovered that hard work led to success. And one of the important things about this one is that it actually adds another writing mode that's not in the book, okay? So we have covered description, we've covered narrative, we're doing example. We've talked about the fact that all our papers have arguments, and that what you're doing is, you can see that, is analyzing your topic. The other one we're going to add down here, and I wrote this in the last semester, can everyone read what that says? It's number 16, and it's called Citation of Yourself as an Authority. Now, some of you have already used this, okay? Well, if you remember Lloyd, I think we looked at Lloyd's paper, or you told us your topic, you were going to write about firing a certain kind of gun, and how that was both exciting and dangerous, so you had to use safety. what he's doing when he narrates that firing that gun and how you have to be safe with it, he's establishing himself as an authority on that subject because he has done that before. Okay? So by writing that paper, he's saying, I am an authority on this. So this is how I can write the paper. It's a whole other writing mode that you're also using. So that's what you would need to do with something like this. Use yourself as an example. You could also use somebody else as an example. You could make a person up. You could say, for example, Sue found out through this event that she needed to be dedicated. Does that make sense on this one? You would need 3 examples of how this happened. And 3 examples of this are the time I did this, the time I did this, and the time I did this. So that's another idea for how to come up with this thesis statement. This one is pretty easy. Where did you put for this? Anybody? Justin, where did you put for this one? You know any designer clothing labels?
Like the basics, like polo, lunch, religion,
Good.
Nikes, all
Yeah,
other stuff.
exactly. Yeah, they must have expensive designer clothing such as it's from X, Y, and Z. Yeah, exactly. Okay. What about this one? This is another personal experience yourself as a citation if you have a large family or if you have a friend that has a large family. Can people think of 3 ways that growing up in a large family can teach the value of compromise? What is compromise? What does that mean? Yeah, when you compromise, you have to give in a little, the other person has to give in a little. Sharing a bathroom. Yeah, okay. Does that make sense? This one should have been easy, although people tend to overthink this. For one thing, this one isn't really argumentative, is it, as it is? Does that have an argument? No, this just tells what happened, okay? So you kind of have to put a notation on there. A number of shiny classic cars cruised up and down Ocean Drive, and the best looking ones were, anybody think of any classic cars? That's all that really wants there, is pick 3 types of cars. What did you put? So you're really just looking for 3 examples. Yeah.
Could you argue that some of them aren't shiny?
Good. Yeah, good. So the shiniest, because yeah, we know from living around here that this is what people do. They have, yeah. So you could argue, yes, some of them were not the car for this coolers or whatever they give them. So does that make sense to people? This might have been a little bit difficult, but basically all it was asking you to do is come up with 3 examples of these things. Okay? Okay, so go ahead and turn that in. Anybody else? Before we look at the worksheet, I just want to mention the homework for tonight to you. Okay. Because this is the first time we've done this kind of homework. This is in your book, and what you're going to be doing is, as you've been working through these chapters, or not, or working through the chapters in the other book, you'll notice that the way these chapters go is you have an introduction. So I had you read the other book for just this part. But you can see they're pretty much the same thing as the current, you can match that handout to this. Then you have this part called moving from paragraph to essay, which is what we're doing. And then there are these sample student essays. Okay, Joanna and Danielle. So what we're gonna do from now on is I'm gonna assign you one of these essays to read, basically. And this is gonna take the place of, you know, you read the Hot Fudge Sunday one, you read the Diner at Midnight, or whatever it was, okay? So that's what this is. This is going to be a reading thing. And it has these little notes in here. You're gonna read this one. It already tells you the thesis statement with the essay map. Now, these essays, what these essays are, I would say this one is probably written by a student who has completed this class. So I'm kind of letting you look at what's to come. You notice this is a much longer essay than what you'll be writing. But like I said, your essay's gonna be shorter. Make sure you see this. And then I want you to look for, once you have this, once you can see the copied sentence, ask yourself, does this match up? And do you think that the examples the person chose prove the point they're trying to make? Okay, so kind of read this as though you're reading a paper in a peer review, because this is another student, these person's students. Okay, so that's your homework. There are some questions in there. Let's see. This one, the reading techniques, which I just want to re-emphasize to people. This was covered in the reading assignment. Now, you didn't have any exercises that day in the book, but remember I assigned you to read the pieces in this book about the introductory paragraph, the body paragraphs, and the concluding paragraph. So if you haven't read those, you will not recognize these questions. So that means what? You need to go back and read it. So some people look at this homework and say, but you didn't cover this, I don't know what you mean. Well, guess what? You had some homework that had that in it. So go back and yeah, it was this. Intro, the three part, this reading, and then these readings. Does that make sense? So you may have to go back and read that if you just skip over it before you do this homework. Okay, so let's look at our worksheet. So like I said, you can use some of these ones on this homework that you just handed in if you would like to. And again, at the end of each chapter, your book always has possible topics for example writing assignments. So if you're going to write an example essay about tattooing, what might an argument be that you could make about tattooing? What argument could you make about tattooing?
That everyone gets them?
Okay, well, everyone gets them. Now that's that brings up another issue. You can't really say everyone gets them unless you know everyone in the world.
No, young adults.
Okay, so yes, so you could say tattooing is a popular art form, a kind of body art for young people.
Expresses art.
And what could she, and that's why I'm asking Lydia, what could she use as an example? I'm looking at her arms. Could she not establish herself as a okay? Right? So that's what you want to think about. write about something that you know about and that you can write about, okay? So what 3 examples could she use? And this is where you kind of go back and forth between your thesis statement and the example. What are you trying to do?
Maybe start the sheet.
Okay.
Okay.
And then video and then the aftercare.
Okay, so that could, so if you're gonna do a narrative, talk about how to get them, then your thesis statement might change. So if you're talking about your own experience about deciding on the artwork and going in and having it done and then what you have to do afterwards, the thesis kind of changes from many young people do this to, and the experience is of getting a tattoo is a good one. Does that make sense? How you start with something and maybe as you try to pick your examples, it kind of changes that thesis statement. So that would be a good one. Does everybody follow that? Yeah. How that happens? Okay, what about dropping out of high school? What do people know about dropping out of high school?
You can still be successful.
Okay, that's one argument. People who drop out of high school can still be successful. What would you use as 3 examples for everything?
Like 3 successful people.
Specific people?
Yeah.
And what 3 people?
Like Mark Wahlberg.
Okay,
Yeah.
and Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. Damn. And then too.
Okay, yeah, there are some examples there, yeah. Okay, does that make sense? That one might turn into, Yolanda and Danielle might turn into a little bit of research if you wanted to do something like that, but yeah, 3 people who have dropped out of high school. He dropped out of high school, but then guess what? He enrolled in community college. This is what he did, okay? Does this make sense to people? And again, you don't have to use these, but if you do, you have to come up with some sort of argumentative statement and then find 3 examples of that. Okay, so let's look at our calendar here. You're going to work, oops, don't pause it back. You're going to work on your example essay. Okay. Keep working on it here. Then on Tuesday, March 10th, which is next time, I would like to do our same thing and look at your thesis statements. Have you guys present your thesis statement? So you're going to be at least to that point. Because again, remember, your rough drafts are due a week from today. So we want to at least be to the thesis statement point. I know some people already are. But this one is, this is the first time we've done this, so I want to be sure to have those, okay? Then the paper itself is for 117. Does that make sense? It sounds like a long way away, between the 5th and the 17th, but okay? If you would like to send me your thesis statement in an email for me to look at it ahead of time, okay, so I will see you on